Now, after much dilly-dally over debate on Tuesday, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump also announced he had agreed with the Kamala Harris camp for the September 10 debate on ABC News, the first debate between the two after Joe Biden pulled out of the presidential race following his CNN debate debacle. The former president has confirmed his participation in a fiery post on his social media platform Truth Social. Trump did not specifically mention the muted microphones in his post, but said that the rules will be the same as his past CNN debate with Joe Biden. This decision has sparked controversy as Harris's campaign had been advocating for live microphones throughout the debate to allow for a more dynamic and unrestricted exchange of ideas.
I think ABC should be shut out. I'd much rather do it on NBC. I'd much rather do it on CBS, frankly. I think CBS is very unfair, but the best of the group. And certainly I'd do it on Fox. I'd even do it on CNN. I thought CNN treated us very fairly the last time. You know, the deal was we keep the same rules. Now all of a sudden they want to make a change in the rules because she can't answer questions. Why doesn't she do a couple of questions? Doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine.
After days of suspense over whether Donald Trump will pull out of the September 10 ABC debate with Kamala Harris or if the microphones will be muted, the former president confirmed that he will indeed be taking part in the debate. And in true Trump style, he threw in terms like Comrade Kamala Harris and unfair ABC fake news and lamented about the debate being a stand-up where candidates cannot bring cheat sheets. While he did not specifically mention anything about microphones, Trump confirmed that the rules will be the same as his election-changing CNN debate with Joe Biden, during which the president insisted that the microphones be muted. Unlike Biden, the Harris campaign had been pushing for hot mics, which would allow the two candidates to interrupt and speak over each other. The vice president's team had been hoping for an unfettered, unfiltered, ill-tempered Trump at the ABC debate.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
When Kamala Harris was giving her 45-minute-long speech on the final night of the Democratic National Convention, Trump launched a tirade against her on Truth Social, posting more than 37 times and making personal attacks against Harris. If Trump's microphone was unmuted while Harris was speaking, the likelihood of an audible insult or interruption would have been very high. The Harris campaign felt that a more aggressive Trump would only be beneficial for them because he could turn off crucial undecided swing voters. This is especially important in an election which will be decided by a relatively small group of undecided voters in a handful of battleground states such as Pennsylvania, where the debate is being held on the 10th of September. The Trump campaign has been trying to persuade the former president to focus on key issues and not on personal attacks. Their calculation is that Trump will win in November if he sticks to talking about the economy, border and crime. But Trump may not necessarily be listening to them.
Let me ask you about that. We're going to do a free poll. Here are the two questions. Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? Ready? Should I get personal? Should I not get personal? I don't know. My advisors are fired.
One can assume that if candidates are only audible during their allotted answer time, then the debate is more likely to focus on the issues. That is what the Trump campaign wants, and not tense clashes and heated exchanges, which are more likely with live mics. The debate could be Trump's best shot to slow down the momentum that Harris has been riding on even before the Democratic National Convention. For Harris, it will be a litmus test to prove herself in an unscripted environment. Either way, the 10th of September debate could be the most consequential moment between now and Election Day.
But it's not all that rosy for Donald Trump because he's facing a jolt from the former Republicans. Over 200 staffers for 4 previous Republican presidential nominees have endorsed Democrat Kamala Harris's White House bid, cautioning that the notion of a second term for Donald Trump is simply untenable and will hurt real everyday people. While the letter is embarrassing for the Grand Old Party presidential nominee, Trump's campaign was quick to dismiss it and called the letter hilarious. The question is Democratic nominee Kamala Harris gaining ground among Republicans? Let's find out.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for president, Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious.
In a little over a month, Kamala Harris has racked up the support of women, young, black and Hispanic voters. But she's also gaining ground among Republicans. More than 200 staffers of 2 former Republican presidents, George H.W. Bush and George W. Bush, as well as previous Republican presidential nominees Mitt Romney and the late John McCain, have endorsed Kamala Harris and warned against a second term for Donald Trump. In an open letter, these former Republican staffers called on their fellow moderate Republicans and conservative independents to join them in backing Harris and her running mate Tim Walz. They wrote, "Another 4 years of Donald Trump's chaotic leadership, this time focused on advancing the dangerous goals of Project 2025, will hurt real, everyday people and weaken our sacred institutions." While the letter is embarrassing for the GOP presidential nominee, Trump's campaign was quick to dismiss it. Their statement said, "It's hilarious because nobody knows who these people are. They would rather see the country burn down than to see President Trump successfully return to the White House to make America great again." At the recent Democratic National Convention, even Republicans were in attendance to endorse Harris and blast Trump.
It's in standing up for our Constitution and our democracy. That is the soul of being a conservative. It used to be the soul of being a Republican, but Donald Trump has suffocated the soul of the Republican Party.
The Harris-Walz campaign have even announced a program called Republicans for Harris, which according to them is an attempt to reach out to Republican, independent and Trump-skeptical voters. On the other hand, Trump is trying to turn the tables on Harris. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently suspended his independent presidential bid only to endorse Trump.
Don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country?
Tulsi Gabbard, who ran for the 2020 Democratic nomination, has also endorsed Donald Trump.
To stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, if you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people.
Both Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. were considered fringe members of the Democratic Party before they left. The open letter backing the Democratic ticket puts the spotlight on the growing fissures in the Republican Party over the persistent influence of the MAGA movement. Independents have emerged as the dominant voting bloc in American politics, and with just about 3 months left for elections, both Republicans and Democrats have been trying to court independent voters. Any divide in the Republican Party could make independents think twice before voting for them. The outcome of November 5 could be determined by a razor-thin margin.
All right, it's time for a quick break here on World 360. But after the break, we'll be back with all the latest on the arrest case of Telegram CEO Dhruv